things. The first 30 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about managing our Gmail during this time. Mine's kind of exploded in the last 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. I don't know how many of you are. So just a few tips and tricks for helping to manage your email. And then Heather's going to take over and talk about Google Drive and how to manage that, since that's where we're living now, in our Gmail and our Drive, and trying to, if those are a little more manageable, it may help you as a teacher. So Lisa, since you're the only one we know is kind of participating in this, do you have any questions before we start? I forgot to, about Gmail. I'm going to share my screen here. Screen sharing is disabled. Oh, hi, Ramon.
Hey, I had to switch computers, so I could hear you. I just didn't have a mic on my big computer, and I couldn't find my headset.
Got it. Ramon and I are old 6th grade teaching buddies. Are you still over at Orchard Hills now, or where are you teaching?
I'm still at Orchard Hills. Now I'm teaching 4th.
4th grade. Awesome.
Hey, I'm sorry about that share feature. I've got that fixed.
Okay. I'm going to share. We're going to go into Gmail here, and I'm going to share my scary inbox. I purposely didn't empty it out today, so I can kind of give some tips on how I'm managing mine. So, oh, there you are, Ramon. I just wasn't looking at my email. So, okay, first of all, I'm going to give you some tips on reducing the amount of email that you get in the first place. So we don't have to manage it if we don't have it there. So I'll talk about that, give you a few tips and tricks for that to start out with. And then talk about using priority inbox to let Google prioritize your email for you. And then show you a new feature that's called Reading Pane that you can enable or disable. Talk about using labels, talk about using filters, talk about the archive, what happens if you archive emails, and then how to search them, and also how to get away from using email as a storage system. We'll do that all like in 20 minutes. So this will be quick. We are recording this, and we will make this available for you. Afterwards, we'll put it on our website. And also, if you have any questions, the other coaches are monitoring the chat. So you could just put your question in the chat, and they'll bring it to my attention, and I can answer those questions for you. So first of all,
really quick, we can't see your screen yet.
Oh, sharing is paused. It says bring your shared window to the front.
It's a Mac thing. PCs wouldn't do this.
Oh, there's a resume share. Can you see it now?
Still looks black on mine.
Yeah, it's still black.
Let me try mine and see if it shares over, and then we'll switch back. Can you see mine?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'll stop and now share yours, see if that fixes it.
Okay.
There, I see you.
Paul, if you're in the building, will you come to the office? Christy?
There we go.
Okay, so here's my inbox. I used to pride myself on having 0 inbox. As you can see, that is not the case anymore. I just keep filling up as fast as I can. They come in, but there are still some nice management tools. First of all, to reduce the amount of emails coming in, if you are getting notifications from Google Classroom or Seesaw or any other apps that you have your students contributing to, you want to turn off your notifications for that. In the chat, we'll put in a link to how to manage notifications in Google Classroom and Seesaw. It'll be like a global notification for all of your notifications. So if that's the issue that you're having, that's the first thing that you can do. Then let me show you something else. This is called some more. Excuse me, not some more. I was just in some more. This is called Unroll Me, and you go to unroll.me. And this will enroll you, an easy way to enroll you from all your subscriptions. So your inbox may be filling up because you've intentionally or unintentionally subscribed to a newsletter or updates from especially if we've been getting all this information, emails on new things that may be available. So this is called cleaning up your inbox. It's called unroll.me. And I'm just going to click on here, get started. And I'm going to sign in with Google. That will connect me to my Google account that I'm using right now. You'd have to run this on each account that you wanted to do it. It wouldn't enroll me from my personal email, just on this one email. So it's looking here, it says, oh, you've got all these subscriptions. That's why I'm getting so many emails, because these are already here. So don't worry about this roll up. I'm not going to worry about that. Go down here to where it says that they start listing them alphabetically. And I'm going to say, no, unsubscribe. I don't want to get Achieve anymore. I don't want to get Actively Learn. Airport Express, don't want to get that anymore. So somehow I have maybe inadvertently subscribed to these, and that's why I'm on their email list. So I can just go through really quick. The one thing you want to be careful with is not to unsubscribe from any NEBO list. So example, if you're on the 5th grade list or the 4th grade list in NEBO, if you unsubscribe to that, you will stop receiving those emails. So, so that's one way. And then you just go down and you check it periodically. And since I've been getting a lot of emails lately, mine has just really filled up here. So just run through, and instead of going into each one individually and having to go to the bottom of the email and hit unsubscribe and trying to describe in 25 words or less why you want to unsubscribe from their service, you can just see them all here and unsubscribe for the ones you want to. Looks like that's going to be my afternoon task today. So 2 things like we just talked about. One is to limit the emails that you're receiving by managing your notifications from Google Classroom or Seesaw or other services that you're getting notifications from. And then also you can unroll from subscriptions that are just kind of junk mail. Another way that you can manage emails coming into your inbox is going to filters. But before we talk about filters, I'm going to talk about using priority inbox. So if you go over to, you have a settings gear right here in your email. I'm going to click on that settings gear and click settings. And I'm going to go here to inbox. We'll come back and look at some of these other settings in a minute, but we don't have time today. This is actually a pretty nice thing to go through and can change some of the way that you're working with your email. But I'm going to go to inbox right here. And right now I have priority inbox set. You may have default. If you have default set, it has like promotion, social. It's more of kind of a, maybe, set for a personal email. But I like to use a priority inbox. You can always change this and you can optimize it yourself. But what this does for me means that if there's an email that's marked important, my first section of my email, these are my email sections, the first email that I have, make this a little bit bigger for you, is called important. And I can say, in this box, I want important, and I can say how many items I want to show. I can hide this section if it's empty. It could be important and unread or just important. I'll show you what that looks like. I have mine marked to just important because even if it's unread, I still want it to be in an important box. How does Gmail know which is important for you or not? We'll talk. It looks at your emails. Google looks at your emails, doesn't read all your emails, but it analyzes, runs its little tools on your emails and looks at those emails that you've replied to, the ones that you open more often, that you, even what's in the email, and it kind of decides, oh, this is an email that you probably want to see. And you can manage that. I'll show you that in a minute. So I would suggest having this set up. I have my second one set up of anything that I've starred. Stars can mean anything that you want. And then I have my third one empty. This could also just be I don't have anything in that one. And then everything else that is not important goes underneath that. So let's see what that looks like in my email. I'll go back to my inbox. So right here, you can see this is my inbox, and this is saying everything that's important. And everything that's important has this little important tag right on it. That's what those tags mean. If I say, oh, it's not really that important, I can click on it and make it unimportant. And if I get an email from that person again, it would go down here into my everything else. Conversely, if I were down here and this is an email from me, I could say, oh, I want that to go into my important, even though Google thinks that that's unimportant. So I can mark it in important, and then in the future, any email from that person or that source would go back up. Okay, so now you can see I marked it as important. So you can Google will do the first guess for you and manage that for you. And then after time, and then you can fix that or refine it. So anyway, I have these emails coming in about Seesaw, kind of an issue we're having this morning. Any questions about that? Now let me take you back to settings, and there's another thing that you can do in settings that will also help now that we've talked about inbox. I'm going to go back to my settings, and I'll talk about filters here. So filters is a way that if something comes in from a certain person or on a certain topic or with a certain subject line, I can filter it to not go into my inbox. So I just click here to create a new filter, and I could say anything that comes from Heather, I'm going to create a filter. Whoops. And I'll say, do I want it to skip the inbox? So it's just going to be archived. It won't even go in my inbox. Maybe I could put all of my parent addresses in there, and maybe I have a label named parent, and you could put multiple addresses there. Could go there. I could put a star on it. I could apply one of my labels that I have if it was from that person. I could forward it to another one of my email addresses. I could add a forwarding address. I could delete it so it doesn't even make it. So you can see there's lots of options in here. So this is, if you want help with doing this, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but know that you can send, you can, if certain emails come in, you can create this filter. Once I mark that, I'm not seeing my full screen here, just a minute. Then it'll set that up for me. Okay. Just to show you a little thing that I just noticed today, Google's always adding new things, which kind of helps you manage your email a little bit, is going over here to settings. There in the regulars, in the general settings, there is a new option called let me find it here. Maybe it's in inbox. Yes, it's in. Now that you have your inbox configured, it's called reading pane. I've enabled the reading pane right here, and I'm going to say this is a reading pane position. And I didn't change it. Well, if you make any changes and change, you'll have to change it. And now it's not showing up. It was there a minute ago. So let's not worry about that right now. We'll skip that, and I'll come back to if I see it showing. Actually, you can keep your email list right here, and then it opens a little pane on the right that you can open your email. So let me go back to settings. let me try this one more time. I'll disable it. And then I'm going to enable it again and see if we can get that working. I don't know why I'm in that email. Okay. Now I'm going to enable it, and I'm going to put that to the right side of my inbox and save changes. And there we go. So I can toggle it right up here. So I go back to my inbox. And you know what? If I open up a conversation, it shows the conversation here to the right, but I still have my email list to the left. So I can toggle it right here. So I can have no split, a vertical split, which is what I'm looking at right now. I can also do a horizontal split. So as I click on an email, I'd be able to see it below. So it's just a little thing that they just added now to help you work through your email. So I'm going to go to no split right now. So I have it regular. So you can see how fast my emails are coming in today. So let's talk about using labels, because that's a main thing that I do to help manage my email. And I'm trying to hurry here so I can give Heather enough time. So notice when I click on an email, I have options up here, and let's talk about the options that you have in your email. I can archive it. Archiving means that it just goes to your all mail. Sometimes people ask, if I archive it, where does it go? How do I find it again? Unless something's really junk, I usually don't delete my emails. I'll archive it because I can always go back to my all mail and I can do a pretty extensive search. Let's say I wanted to search, I knew that there was somebody that emailed me about Seesaw. And it lets me further refine that search right here. Was it from me? When did I receive it? Did it have an attachment to it? Was it to me? Lets me to refine that search. Anyway, so that's how that, I'm going to go back to my inbox. I can't see this unless I've selected an email. So that's what archive is. This reports it as spam. So if something that you know is spam, this is different than what you subscribe to. If you subscribe to it, you intentionally subscribe, maybe unknowingly, but because you clicked on an email and there was a little check box at the bottom of the email or something that said, send me your updates. So those ones you should unsubscribe to. But if you were on some kind of a list that, somebody got, and they're just spamming out a lot of people, you can mark that as spam and that will go to your spam. So that's what that is right there. This will delete. This, you mark this as unread, so you can actually look at it but mark it as unread. This little snooze button was new this year. You can say, I want to snooze this until later today. So it will disappear from my email, but it will pop back up. And I can pick a date and time, or I can look at this. Like, I know I don't even want to deal with this until tomorrow. So I just click tomorrow, and then it's gone, and it will pop back up in my email tomorrow. So that's a nice little one. But mainly I use my labels and I move to. So these are almost the same thing. Let me talk about that a little bit. My labels are over here. These are the labels or folders that I have where I put my email and keep my email. Notice I can add colors to them. I can add sub folders or labels. You can manage them in different ways. If you go all the way to the bottom, you can manage your labels from down here or create a new label, but you can also create a new label as you're labeling. For instance, if I want to put a label on this, it lets me create a new label here if I wanted to, so I don't have to go all the way to the bottom of my email. So the difference between moving to and labeling, the labels are the same. So it's moving to the same thing. If I go to move to, it puts a label on it and it moves it out of my inbox and over here. If I just put a label on it, like maybe I put these labels here, these are things that maybe this is a Google Classroom problem, this is action required, and I apply that, it stays in my inbox, but I put this little label on it. If I wanted, you could see that label also exists over here on the left. So I can select action required and it would just show me all of the things that I put in action required. Those are things that I need to get to. Notice they don't have the label when I'm clicking on it, but it shows me this one was in my inbox. These are, so inbox is a label in and of itself. If I'm in my inbox, then the inbox label doesn't show, just any other label that's put on it. So again, if I select something, I can move it to an inbox and then just go to that inbox later, or I can just apply a label. You can see where I've done that, and you can apply multiple labels. For instance, this is something I need to get to. It has to do with Learn Platform. It's something that I need to do soon. So I just kind of, it shows me that, oh, I've looked at that email and I didn't delete it. There's just something I need to do with it. And I know what it has to do with because I put the Learn Platform. If I went over here to the action required or the Learn Platform folder, those would also show up there. So play around with those. Again, this confused me at first in Gmail. I thought these were different things. They're the same things. The difference is you can apply a label within the inbox, or you can take it out of the inbox and move it over to one of your folders. So folders and labels are the same thing. Just another little hint here at the end is not to use your email as a storage system. So I purposely sent myself this email right here to show you that I've got some information on it. So this has a Google Doc attached to it. So that I really want to keep this information because I asked somebody for it. So I'll just keep it in my email. If it has any kind of attachment, whether it's a PDF, a Google Doc, an image, you can save it right to your Google Drive by hovering over the attachment and clicking on Drive. Whoops, it lets you save it to your Drive right here. It even lets you organize it and put it into a folder. It brings up your Drive, asks you what folder you want to put it into, so you can take care of it right from your Drive. So that's, I'm going to delete that because that was just kind of a fake email that I sent to myself. There's another one that I already deleted that I sent to myself. So that's one way, like add it to your Drive if you can. If it is a calendar event, you click this little button over here on the right. Notice that you can open up your calendar right from Google Drive, your Gmail. You can open your calendar. You can open up Google Keep. You can open up Google Tasks. So if something had a calendar item attached to it, I forgot to send myself one of those. But anyway, if I opened up my calendar, and then I also opened up the event, and I went to create an event right here, it would have the name of the event right here. It would pull it from the subject heading, and I could make a calendar event right from here and save it. I could open my calendar if I wanted to, but I could pull that event right into my calendar. If you haven't used Google Keep before, it's a great little way to take notes. So I can open up Google Keep. If, for instance, somebody was sending me a website, see if I've got something like that. Yeah, here's something about Screencastify. Maybe I want to save this. So I'll open up Screencastify, open up Google Keep, take a note, and there I have, it'll link my email right here. So I know this is about Screencastify. And I can pin that note. I can even open it in Keep right there, but I go done. And now I've saved that into Google Keep. So I've got this information here. It would take me back to my email. And then I wouldn't delete it, but I would archive it. Because remember, I can always go and search for that again.
Pam, I sent you a calendar event so you can try to put that in the calendar.
There we go. So here's the calendar event. Thank you, Greg. I'll go to the calendar. Notice when I open it up, it already created the event. Right here, Google Classroom is the name of the event. I can add anything I wanted to. I'll go save, and that will put it right into my calendar. There, it added it right there, and I didn't have to put it in my calendar, and now I can archive that event. So anyway, any questions? I'm going to turn the time over to Heather here,
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.
and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.